This is the 3-leaf clover that I'll be showing you guys today. I actually found the pattern in a book that I just bought at my local half-price bookstore. It's just a really cool little book with lots of different flower patterns, both to knit and to crochet. And so I was looking through a few of these and I found several that I do like, so maybe I'll share some more at another time. But this is the 3-leaf clover that I made here, and mine is just a little bit modified from the pattern. I'll show you guys a close-up of that, but this is the result, and I'll just show you guys how I've been doing this one. Okay, let's just begin by putting a slip knot onto the hook, and then we'll make a foundation chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just so that you can get your bearings, you can go ahead and mark that 5th chain with a stitch marker. So that just makes it a little bit easier later on. Now we're going to skip the 5th chain and the 4th chain and instead work into this 3rd chain here that we'd made. And so right here we're just going to come right back into the 3rd chain and do a single crochet. Now we'll go into the 2nd chain and do a double crochet. Now into the very first chain that we made, our first chain here, we're going to do 10 triple crochet. Okay, and just continue like that, doing 10 triple crochet into that very first chain. Okay, again, wrap your hook twice, go into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2 more loops, yarn over, and pull through your last 2 loops. Okay, and we're just going to continue that. Okay, now that we have our 10 triple crochet worked in, we're going to still be working on this same foundation row that we originally made. We just did our 10 single crochet right here into our first spot. Now we're going to just do a double crochet, mirroring the other side, into the next spot available on your foundation row. So we do our, oops, get the tail out of there, double crochet, and then again we're mirroring what we did on the other side with just a single crochet in the next spot. And to end this, we're going to slip stitch right back into the last spot there. Try to make sure we get that tail worked in. And here we're going to fasten off and sew in our ends. We're done with this lobe. So I'm going to just pull up a loop, cut my yarn, and pull through. Now we're going to just work in these 2 ends here. This one has already been worked in as we went back along the second part of our lobe here. So we'll just sew this one in and then we'll move on to doing the next 2. Now we have our first 2 lobes done. This is the 3rd one. I've gone along and done all of the stitches. I've slip stitched into this last spot here. And now instead of cutting my yarn and fastening off, I'm going to go ahead and make a chain of 9. So let's do that here. And I like to mark that first stitch also, just a way to help yourself out to make sure that you're not missing anything. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's our chain of 9. And we can go ahead and mark this very first chain, just so we know where we began. And now that we have our chain of 9, we're going to go back, skipping the first stitch that we have here. The first chain that we have here. We're going to go back and do slip stitching into each of the remaining 8 chains. So we skip this one here, and we're going to go back and slip stitch right in here. So into our 8th chain, and just slip stitch right in and come back out. Again, for the 7th one, we go straight into the chain, pull up a loop, and pull it through the one on our hook. So we just slip stitch all the way back. Okay, so now that we've done all of those 8 slip stitches, we're going to slip stitch back into the first chain here. So let's take out our marker so we know exactly where we're going to slip stitch into. There we go. So that's the end of our 3rd lobe, and now we're going to begin attaching our lobes together. Okay, now that we have our 3rd lobe and the stem completed, we're going to join it to the 2nd lobe. And this is where my pattern differs a little bit from the one in the book. So what I do now is I just hold my 2 lobes. These are the right sides up. I'm going to put them back to back. And then what I'm going to do is just go through these 3 stitches here and slip stitch from between these 2. So I go through the front chain, and then I go through a corresponding chain on the back lobe. And all we're going to do is just slip stitch these together. Oops, sorry. Slip stitch. And then we go through the next chain and the next chain in the back. And again, just a simple slip stitch to join. And then through the 3rd set, slip stitch. Now that those are joined together, go ahead and chain 1, and then you're just going to flip it over so that now you're looking at the back of the 2 joined lobes. And all you're going to do here is 3 slip stitches to pull these 2 lobes together just a little bit more firmly. So wherever you can get your hook through to make that slip stitch, just go ahead and do that. So just find a raised up back of one of the stitches, go through the one lobe, go through the next lobe, and join with a slip stitch. And just do about 3 of those until you get back down to where the stem is. Okay, so I've done my 3 slip stitches. I'm closer to where the stem is now, so I'm just going to join the stem back into where I have my stitch marker. And again, we're just going to do a slip stitch. So pick up a spot wherever you can here on the back of the stem and slip stitch that straight on over to where we had our stitch marked, okay? Okay, now that you've done that, slip stitch back over to the lobe. So we'll just head right back over, whoops, just slip stitch right back over to the lobe there. And again, we're going to do the same thing that we did previously. Grab our first lobe that we made, and we're just going to place them back to back and begin joining. So go through the next available stitch and the next available right here on your back lobe as well. Slip stitch through and do that again 2 more times. Now we'll chain 1. And you can see it coming together here. Again, after we've chained 1, we're going to do the same exact process here. Pick up 3 slip stitches along the back and join these together with the stem. Now that we've gone ahead and done that, we are going to slip stitch together the stem and that last lobe. So you can go ahead and take out your last stitch marker out of there. And just as we did previously, we'll join to the stem here and then slip back over to our last lobe and fasten off, and then we're good to go. Cut that yarn and sew this piece in either along the stem or back up right along here. Okay, and there we have it.